Someone left you out once. You still remember it. Not the reason it happened, not the date, not who else was in the room. You remember the feeling. And someone, probably, told you it wasn't real, that it was just in your head, that you were being too sensitive, that you should let it go, that words can't actually hurt you. You nodded. You tried to believe it. But your brain never did. Everything you were taught about hurt feelings is missing one strange fact, and that fact rewrites the whole thing. Because when you are excluded, ignored, or quietly dropped from the group, your brain does not file it away as an emotion, it files it as an injury. The same alarm that screams when you break a bone is the alarm that fires when you are left out. There is a reason for that, and the reason is older and more dangerous than you think. Hold on to that. We'll come back to why your body treats a cold shoulder like a wound. First, look at what's actually happening inside your skull. In 2003, a neuroscientist named Naomi Eisenberger ran an experiment at UCLA that sounds almost too simple to matter. She put people inside a brain scanner and had them play a children's video game. The game was called Cyberball. You toss a ball back and forth with two other players on a screen. That's it. That's the whole game. Except the other two players weren't real, and partway through, they stopped throwing you the ball. They just threw it to each other, over and over. You sit there, on the edge of the game, watching two strangers ignore you completely. It is the most trivial rejection imaginable. Pixels not passing a pixel to you. Nobody insulted you, nobody even spoke. And inside the scanner, a region of the brain lit up. It was the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. Say that once, and then forget the name. Here's what matters about it. That same region is the part of your brain that registers the raw unpleasantness of physical pain, not the place that tells you where it hurts, the place that makes hurting feel bad, the part that makes you want it to stop. When the pixel players stopped passing the ball, that pain region switched on. The brain was not pretending. It was not being dramatic. It reached for the only system it had that could express how serious this was, and the only system serious enough was pain. So the question stops being, why does rejection feel like it hurts? The question becomes, why did your brain build it out of pain in the first place? Why would evolution be that cruel? To answer that, you have to leave the lab. You have to go back, way back. Picture the world your ancestors actually lived in. Not a city, not a house with a locked door and a refrigerator full of food, a small band of people on an open landscape, 30, maybe 40 individuals. No walls, no police, no stores, no safety that did not come directly from the people standing next to you. Now imagine being pushed out of that group. Not killed, just left. Told in whatever way they told it that you were no longer welcome. You walk away from the fire, and then night comes. Alone, you cannot stay awake to watch for predators and also sleep. Alone, you cannot hunt large animals. Alone, you cannot share food when your own hunt fails, and it will fail. Alone, no one nurses you when you are sick. Alone, your children do not survive. For almost the entire span of human existence, to be excluded from the group was not an insult, it was a sentence. Exclusion meant death, slowly but reliably. So think about the problem evolution was solving. It needed a way to make you avoid being cast out. It needed an alarm loud enough that you would never ignore it, never get used to it, never shrug it off. It needed something that grabbed you by the spine. And there was already a system built for exactly that, the pain system. The oldest, loudest, most undeniable warning your body owns. So evolution did something efficient and a little bit ruthless. It wired the social alarm into the pain alarm. It borrowed the circuitry. Rejection got plugged into the same wires as a wound, because a wound and rejection were, back then, the same kind of threat. Both could kill you. That bump of grief you feel when you are left out is not a malfunction. It is a survival tool, still running, still trying to keep you alive in a world that mostly no longer exists. This is where it gets stranger.
If social pain and physical pain really share the same machinery, then they should not just feel similar, they should behave similarly. You should be able to do physical things to a broken heart. A psychologist named C. Nathan DeWall decided to test exactly that. He gave people over 3 weeks a common over-the-counter painkiller, acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol, the stuff you take for a headache. Then he measured how much social pain they felt day to day, the sting of being snubbed or left out. The people taking the painkiller hurt less. Not in their joints, in their feelings. A pill designed for a sore back was quietly dulling the ache of rejection. Sit with how bizarre that is. The line we draw between a physical wound and an emotional one, the line your whole culture insists on, the line that lets people say it's just in your head. Your nervous system never drew that line. To your body, they are the same substance. You can numb a betrayal with the same chemistry you use to numb a bruise. And yet you would never tell someone with a broken arm to just get over it. You would never call a person weak for flinching when the bone snapped. But we say it about exclusion all the time. We say it to other people, we say it to ourselves. That gap between how seriously your body takes rejection and how little permission you give yourself to feel it is where so much quiet suffering lives. There is a researcher named Kipling Williams who has spent decades studying that simple ball-tossing game, inversions where you are ignored by people you would never meet again, by people you actively dislike, even by a computer you are told is just a computer. It does not matter. The hurt comes anyway. You cannot logic your way out of it. Williams found that people felt the sting even when they knew for certain that nobody real was rejecting them. The alarm does not check your reasons, it just fires. Because the alarm is not modern. You are. And this is the part that closes the loop. Remember the promise. Why does your body treat a cold shoulder like a wound? Here it is, fully. Your brain is running ancient software on a machine that has been dropped into a world it was never designed for. For your ancestors, the group was everything, and the pain of losing it was a lifesaver. For you, the group is 100 different things: a friend circle, a work team, the comment section, a message that gets read and not answered. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference. It treats the silence after a text the way it would have treated banishment from the tribe. It treats being the last one picked the way it would have treated being driven from the fire. The threat level is wrong. The wiring is right. It is doing precisely what it was built to do, in a setting that no longer matches. Mark Leary, another psychologist, gave this a name. He called your self-esteem a sociometer, a gauge, not a measure of how good you are, but a meter reading how accepted you are, how safely you belong. When it drops, you feel it as a fall in your own worth, but it was never really measuring your worth. It was measuring your distance from the group. It was checking, moment to moment, whether you were still safe by the fire. So now you know what that feeling actually is. The next time you are left out of something small, and that old ache shows up far bigger than the moment deserves, you will understand what just happened. A 2-million-year-old alarm went off. It is not weakness. It is not you being too sensitive. It is the most ancient part of you doing its one job, the job that kept your bloodline alive across every generation that ever lived, all the way down to you. It is not in your head. It never was. Someone left you out once, and your body remembered it the only way it knew how, the way it was built to remember, back when remembering was the difference between living and being left alone in the dark. You are not broken for feeling it. You are simply still carrying the thing that made sure you were never, truly, alone.